Big news is spreading across the tech world. Rumors, leaks, and early reports are painting a clear picture. Apple is preparing something different, something bold, and something that could shift the iPhone lineup in ways we have not seen for years. The iPhone 17 series is not just another yearly upgrade. It is shaping up to be Apple's 20th anniversary refresh, a milestone that carries weight, symbolism, and a chance for Apple to redefine its identity in a market that has grown increasingly competitive. Let's start at the top. Apple is expected to reveal the iPhone 17 lineup in September. That timing is no surprise. September has become the traditional stage for Apple's major iPhone launches. But what is surprising is how much change is being whispered about. The leaks suggest that the iPhone 17 Air will arrive as a brand new member of the family. This device sits close to pro-level pricing, but it takes a different path. Instead of chasing larger batteries and bigger camera modules, the Air is designed to be thinner, lighter, and more minimal. It carries a single rear camera, compared to the complex multi-lens setups that Apple has used for years. This is Apple signaling a shift, not just in design, but in philosophy. The move to introduce the Air while removing the Plus is significant. For years, the Plus model filled a niche between the standard and Pro models. It offered larger screens, bigger batteries, and some premium touches, but without the full Pro package. Now, that space will be reshaped. Instead of focusing on bigger, Apple seems to be focusing on lighter and simpler. The iPhone 17 Air will target people who want near-Pro performance, but without the bulk. This follows a trend that we have already seen in the Android world. Competitors like Samsung and OnePlus have experimented with thinner designs, refined materials, and stripped-down feature sets. Apple, as usual, is not first to this idea, but when Apple moves, it moves with confidence. And when Apple embraces a trend, the industry listens. So what does this mean for the entire iPhone 17 lineup? For one, the changes are not skin-deep. Apple is expected to refresh its design materials. A return to an aluminum frame has been rumored, something that many fans will appreciate. Aluminum offers a different balance compared to stainless steel. It is lighter, cooler to the touch, and more practical for a phone that people carry all day. Combine that with thinner bezels, adjusted dimensions, and a focus on overall feel, and you can see Apple aiming to create devices that are not just powerful, but also delightful in hand. After years of incremental updates, this feels like a genuine shift toward refinement. Another big rumor points to vapor chamber cooling. If true, this would be a major technical leap. High-performance smartphones generate heat. And as devices push harder with faster chips, bigger batteries, and more demanding displays, cooling becomes crucial. Vapor chamber cooling is a technology often seen in gaming phones. It allows heat to spread out and dissipate more efficiently. Bringing it to the iPhone 17 lineup suggests Apple is serious about performance consistency. No more worrying about throttling during long gaming sessions. No more heat spikes when recording high-resolution video. For creators and gamers alike, this is a welcome step. Then there is the display story. Apple is expected to roll out 120Hz displays across all iPhone 17 models. This is another area where Android competitors have been ahead. Smooth refresh rates have been a feature in flagship Androids for years. Apple limited promotion to its higher-end devices in previous generations. But now, across the iPhone 17 lineup, smooth scrolling, fluid animations, and responsive touch may become standard. Once again, Apple appears to be catching up, but in a way that ensures consistency across its entire range. Pair this with rumored thinner bezels, and the visual experience of the iPhone 17 could feel dramatically different, more modern, and more immersive. Inside, the upgrades continue. RAM is expected to jump to 12 GB, at least for some models. This is a quiet but important change. iPhones have always been efficient, squeezing performance out of smaller RAM compared to Android devices. But with iOS 20 and its rumored visual overhaul, with Apple Intelligence tools expanding in scope, more RAM makes sense. AI-driven features, predictive tools, and on-device learning are memory hungry. A bump to 12 GB ensures smooth performance, multitasking freedom, and readiness for the next generation of apps. Apple is not just building for today's use cases. It is building for the AI-driven decade ahead. Speaking of AI, one of the most fascinating rumors surrounds Apple's new Lock and Predict feature. This system uses machine learning to analyze user data and anticipate needs. It looks at your location history, your app usage, your daily patterns, even the way you interact with your phone. From there, it predicts actions. Imagine your phone reminding you to leave for work at the exact right moment, not because you set a manual alarm, but because it knows traffic patterns and your habits. Imagine your iPhone suggesting an app just before you realize you need it. This level of prediction could change the way we interact with devices. It is personalization not just on the surface, but deep in the flow of your life. The battery story is also gaining attention. Rumors suggest that the Pro Max could grow slightly thicker to house a battery around 5,000 mAh. That would be the largest ever in an iPhone. Combined with efficiency gains in Apple's chips and the possible vapor chamber cooling, this could mean serious endurance. More hours of video recording. More gaming without recharging. More confidence that your phone lasts the entire day, no matter how heavy your usage is. Apple has faced criticism in the past for battery life compared to some Android competitors. The iPhone 17 lineup looks set to close that gap. Camera changes, as always, will be front and center. Apple is reportedly planning a larger camera module with significant improvements in sensors. Some regions may see a new liquid glass color option, which hints at a design refresh around the lens area. More importantly, Apple continues to push its LiDAR system. These sensors are not just for photography. They are for depth, for augmented reality, for unlocking the future of interactive experiences. Imagine AR navigation that feels precise. Imagine scanning spaces with near-professional accuracy. The iPhone 17 Pro Max could be the device that makes LiDAR mainstream, not just a hidden feature but a daily tool. The video side is equally important. Apple is rumored to add HDR log color profiles, higher frame rates, and tools that bring iPhone videography closer to professional standards. This is a direct nod to creators, filmmakers, and influencers. For years, iPhones have been trusted for video. Entire short films and even commercials have been shot on iPhones. With the iPhone 17 Pro Max, Apple is doubling down. The combination of stabilization, better cooling, improved sensors, and advanced color profiles could make it the most powerful pocket-sized video tool ever released. But design and hardware are only half the story. The other half is strategy. Apple is reportedly mixing eSIM-only models with physical SIM versions by region. This is clever. In some countries, eSIM adoption is high. In others, people still demand physical slots. By offering flexibility, Apple avoids alienating customers while slowly pushing the industry forward. This is Apple's classic move: gradual transition, global sensitivity, long-term vision. The iPhone 17 lineup may represent the midpoint in this journey. Storage options are also part of the conversation. While specifics are not confirmed, rumors suggest expanded ranges, likely starting at 256 GB and going far higher. With 8K video, ProRes recording, and AI features, larger storage is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity. Apple knows this, and it is preparing its devices to handle massive workloads. The iPhone is not just a phone anymore. It is a camera, a workstation, a gaming console, a personal assistant, and a creative studio. Storage capacity needs to reflect that. All of these upgrades lead us to an important question: what is Apple trying to achieve? The answer may be simpler than it looks. The iPhone 17 lineup is Apple's chance to catch up where it lags, while also laying the foundation for the next decade. Catching up on 120Hz displays, catching up on RAM, catching up on vapor cooling. But at the same time, looking forward with AI integration, deeper AR tools, and a design language that will carry into the 20th anniversary iPhone in 2027. Apple is not just responding to competitors. It is preparing for the next wave of mobile computing. And this brings us to the emotional side of the story. Apple products not just judged on specs. They are judged on how they make people feel. The feel of the material in your hand. The smoothness of the interface. The confidence that the device will last, will perform, will support your work and your life. That is why Apple emphasizes design, durability, and experience. With aluminum frames, thinner builds, stronger batteries, and smarter AI, the iPhone 17 lineup could feel like the most balanced iPhone generation ever. We are still months away from the official reveal, but the leaks and rumors already tell a clear story. Apple is making bold moves. Dropping the Plus. Adding the Air. Refreshing design. Boosting performance. Expanding AI. Strengthening battery. Enhancing cameras. Preparing for a future that blends hardware, software, and intelligence more tightly than ever before. This is why the iPhone 17 is more than just a phone. It is a marker in Apple's timeline. A signal that the next chapter is beginning. The story of the iPhone 17 lineup does not end with design and hardware. To really understand Apple's direction, we need to look deeper. Apple is preparing for a future where the iPhone is not only a communication device but also a hub of intelligence, creativity, and connection. The choices being made with the iPhone 17 Pro Max are not isolated. They connect directly to Apple's long-term strategy that leads to the 20th anniversary model in 2027. Let's start with the software side. iOS 20 is expected to launch alongside the iPhone 17 lineup. This update is being described as a visual overhaul. That phrase carries weight. For years, iOS has evolved carefully, with small tweaks here and there. But every so often, Apple delivers a bigger shift. iOS 7 did it back in 2013 with flat design. iOS 14 did it in 2020 with widgets and customization. Now, iOS 20 is set to be another turning point. Expect redesigned icons, smoother animations, and layouts that make use of high refresh rate displays. But it's not just about looks. It's about how the OS supports Apple Intelligence. AI is at the center of this update, and that means iOS is being reshaped to work with it naturally. This brings us back to Apple's Lock and Predict system. Think about how different this is from the past. For years, phones were reactive. You tapped, they responded. You searched, they provided. But with Lock and Predict, the phone starts to anticipate. It becomes proactive. It watches your habits. It learns your preferences. And it offers support before you even ask. Imagine Siri that doesn't just answer when called, but quietly acts in the background to simplify your life. Imagine reminders that show up at exactly the right time, without you setting them. That's the power of predictive AI. And the iPhone 17 lineup, especially the Pro Max, will be the first generation to showcase this at scale. Now let's move to durability and repairability. One of the consistent criticisms of iPhones has been difficulty in repair. Apple has been slowly improving here, and with the iPhone 17 lineup, more changes are rumored. A steel-shelled, L-shaped battery may be coming. This design improves durability. At the same time, reports suggest Apple will use easier-to-remove adhesives. This means battery swaps and repairs could be simpler. It's a small detail, but it matters. In a world where sustainability is becoming a priority, making devices easier to repair is not just good for customers. It's good for Apple's image and long-term strategy. Another critical area is market placement. Apple's decision to drop the Plus model and replace it with the Air is not just about design. It's about positioning. The Air will sit near Pro pricing. That means Apple is deliberately steering customers toward premium models. By removing the Plus, Apple avoids a middle ground device that may confuse buyers. Now, the choice is clearer. You either go with the standard iPhone, the thin and sleek Air, or you move up to the Pro and Pro Max. This is Apple simplifying its lineup while pushing average selling prices higher. It's strategy, pure and simple. Let's talk about pricing expectations. Early reports suggest the iPhone 17 Air could start around $799 to $849, depending on region. That places it very close to the Pro. The Pro Max, with its larger battery, advanced camera, and expanded features, will sit higher, of course. Apple knows that its customers are willing to pay a premium for the Pro experience. But it also knows that offering a stylish, thinner option like the Air could attract people who might otherwise hesitate. This pricing strategy is not random. It's carefully calibrated to maximize both sales volume and profit. Beyond pricing, let's examine how Apple is catching up with competitors. For years, Android phones have offered features like higher RAM, bigger batteries, vapor cooling, and fast displays. Apple has often lagged, choosing stability and optimization over raw numbers. But now, with the iPhone 17 lineup, Apple seems ready to close those gaps. 12 GB of RAM, 5000 mAh batteries, vapor chamber cooling, 120 Hz on every model. These specs sound more like a Samsung flagship than a traditional iPhone. Yet Apple's approach is different. It doesn't just add these features. It integrates them into its ecosystem. That's why even when Apple is late, it still wins. Because it makes the features feel seamless, natural, and reliable. Next, let's go deeper into the camera story. Apple's decision to give the Air only a single rear camera will surprise some people. After years of dual and triple camera setups, going back to a single lens feels like a step down. But in reality, it's a repositioning. The Air is not meant to be the camera champion. That role belongs to the Pro and Pro Max. Instead, the Air is designed for users who want a premium device, but don't need the complexity of multiple lenses. Meanwhile, the Pro and Pro Max will push forward with advanced sensors, larger modules, and LiDAR. This creates a clear separation: the Air for style and simplicity, the Pro for performance, and the Pro Max for maximum capability. Speaking of the Pro Max, let's focus on it specifically. This is Apple's true flagship. Rumors suggest the Pro Max will not only grow slightly thicker to house a larger battery, but also introduce new sensor technology. Larger sensors mean better low-light performance, more dynamic range, and improved detail. Combine that with Apple's computational photography, and the Pro Max could deliver images that rival dedicated cameras. Add the rumored HDR log profiles and advanced video tools, and you have a device that is not just a phone, but a professional creative tool. For filmmakers, content creators, and photographers, the iPhone 17 Pro Max could become indispensable. Let's not forget the aesthetic refresh. The return to aluminum frames, thinner bezels, and liquid glass color options all play into Apple's strength in design. Customers don't just buy iPhones for features. They buy them because they feel like luxury products. Apple knows this. That's why it invests so heavily in color, finish, and form. The iPhone 17 lineup will not just perform well. It will look and feel like a next-generation device. It will remind users why iPhones are status symbols around the world. Now, let's zoom out and think about the bigger picture. Why is Apple making all these changes now? The answer lies in the calendar. In just 2 years, Apple will celebrate the 20th anniversary of the iPhone. That's a massive milestone. Apple doesn't want to arrive at that moment with a stale design or outdated lineup. It wants to build momentum leading into 2027. The iPhone 17 is the start of that build-up. It refreshes the design. It rebalances the lineup. It introduces AI more deeply. It sets the stage. By the time 2027 arrives, Apple will be ready to deliver a true landmark device. At the same time, Apple is responding to external pressure. The smartphone market has matured. People upgrade less frequently. Competition from Samsung, Google, and Chinese brands is intense. Regulators in Europe and elsewhere are demanding changes like USB-C ports, right-to-repair policies, and fairer ecosystems. Apple has to adapt. The iPhone 17 lineup, with its improved repairability, mix of eSIM and physical SIM, and refreshed strategy, shows that Apple is adapting. It's listening to the market while still leading with its own vision. Another dimension worth considering is ecosystem integration. Apple never sells devices in isolation. Every iPhone connects to a wider network: iPads, Macs, Apple Watches, AirPods, and services like iCloud and Apple Music. The iPhone 17 lineup will push this integration further. With more RAM and AI tools, features like handoff, continuity, and universal control could become smoother than ever. Imagine AI that syncs not just across one device, but across all your devices. Start an email on your iPhone, and your Mac already can. How's the context? Start editing a photo on your iPhone, and your iPad has the AI suggestions ready. That's where Apple is heading. And the iPhone 17 is the entry point. It's also worth noting the global strategy. By offering both eSIM-only and physical SIM versions, Apple is acknowledging different markets. In the US, eSIM adoption is rising fast. In India and many parts of Asia, physical SIMs are still dominant. Apple doesn't want to alienate either side. So it offers both. This is classic Apple, moving forward with innovation, but carefully managing regional differences. It's a balance of boldness and caution. Now, let's circle back to customer experience. For the average user, what will the iPhone 17 lineup mean day to day? It means smoother screens across the board. It means more consistent performance thanks to vapor cooling. It means longer battery life, so they worry less about charging. It means cameras that perform better in all conditions. It means AI that helps quietly in the background. In short, it means the iPhone becomes less of a tool you manage, and more of a partner that manages itself. Finally, let's think about Apple's identity. For years, critics have said Apple was falling behind. Too little RAM. No high refresh rate on cheaper models. Small batteries. Limited customization. But with the iPhone 17 lineup, Apple is answering those criticisms. Not just with numbers, but with a coherent vision. Bigger batteries. Faster displays. More RAM. Better repairability. Smarter AI. It's Apple saying, "We hear you. We're evolving. But we're doing it in our way." That balance of listening and leading is what has kept Apple at the top for so long. So, to wrap up, the iPhone 17 Pro Max and its siblings represent more than another annual release. They represent a pivot point. A redesign of the lineup. A step into AI-driven experiences. A preparation for the 20th anniversary milestone. They are Apple's response to competitors, regulators, and customers all at once. They are bold, ambitious, and forward-looking. And if the rumors hold true, they will show that even after 2 decades, Apple still knows how to surprise the world.